Hello YouTube friends, and welcome to our very first episode of Racecar Fabrication and Restoration. My name is Ronnie Humphrey and I'm coming to you from our Humphrey Racing shop here in Shreveport, Louisiana. And I'm so excited about getting this program going. This is something we've been wanting to do for a long time, and we finally got some projects lined up that we'll be able to document from beginning until the end, and it was just a good time to finally get the channel up and running. So we hope you will subscribe to the channel, and we hope that you will stay in touch with us, and that way you'll be able to see when we have updates come out and share it with your friends. And if you're a gearhead, we'll have something for everyone. We'll be following the maintenance and racing program for 3 of these modifieds we run here under the Humphrey banner name, if you will. And then we also will be covering a couple of new restoration projects we have coming. I'm very excited about the 2 cars we hope to get started here in a couple of weeks. The first is a 1966 Nova. You always hear about barn finds, and this is a true barn find. The car has been sitting there for nearly 40 years, has a ½ inch of dust on top of it, so that's going to be a really cool project. But it is going to be a 1966 Nova, they call it square body, and we will be returning it back to its original form. Well, it's in its original form now, but we're going to go in there and get it roadworthy, if you will, but turn it back into a early 70s style asphalt late model. Then we also have a 1982 asphalt all-pro car that stormed the South and ran against people like Neil Bonnet and Bobby and Donnie Allison and Freddie Fryer, Pete Hamilton, and all these guys that were such great drivers in the early days of asphalt in the South. We have this 1982 Camaro that we will be doing a ground up build from it, and that's going to be a really fun project. And again, I hope to have these cars here in the shop hopefully in the next couple of weeks, and I'm going to document from the day we leave to go pick up the cars and to go get them loaded up, get them back in the shop, and we will document the true build of both cars. They're going to be months and months and months of work to each car, but we're really looking forward to doing that. Today, I want to try to give you a little bit of background of kind of where we came from and kind of what you can expect in the future, and kind of some of our knowledge that we've learned over the years and some experience we've had. But I first started racing motorcycles in the late 70s, and then raced up to 1983. Then 83, I swapped to cars, and I've been able to race all the way from Texas all the way up to North Carolina. I actually worked in NASCAR for several years, and while I was up there, I raced at Concord Motor Speedway there in Concord, North Carolina. I was able to race down at Lanier. I crew chief for a sportsman car that ran in Charlotte for a little while, and so been around, raced dirt and asphalt all the way from South Carolina across Alabama, and we raced in Arkansas, everywhere in the South, and been able to drive late models. We've run a lot of dirt, a lot of asphalt, but we've run the late models, sprint cars, mini sprints, factory stocks, street stocks, go-karts, wide body style, Northeast wide body style modified. So had a lot of experience in driving different cars, and then as the kids started coming up and someone run their own stuff, kind of got back and let them do that, and then I scaled my weekly racing back kind of so we could support them. And a couple of years ago, I got involved in, we actually did a chump car race over Texas Motor Speedway, and that's the first time I'd ever gone both right and left in a race car. And man, I said that was a lot of fun, and that kind of introduced me to how fun road racing would be. Well, did a little research and found out that you can go do these track day events, and that's what this 88 car here is behind me. Like I say, we just finished it. It's been an 8-month build, and we just finished it. We've taken to the track only one time. We got a chance to run it about a month or so ago over at Eagle Canyon Raceway in Decatur, Texas, and it was a lot of fun. We're going to feature this car today and kind of tell you where it came about, how it came about, and where it came from, and it's got a really cool history. This is actually a DEI, Dale Earnhardt Incorporated car. It was built for Eric Amarola and for Mark Martin. Eric ended up racing it at Watkins Glen. That was the last road race it ran in. The previous car I had before this was actually a Kevin Harvick Busch Grand National car, and it was a circle track car, and it did fine on the track, but with a purposely built road racing car, you just get your suspension points really where they need to be. It comes off of the jig ready to turn right and left. The balance is better on the car, and was really a fun build. Unfortunately, we did not document. I have a lot of still pictures you'll see here in the video comes up shortly, and let's say we'll tell you about this car here in a minute. But that's kind of where we're coming from. Really excited about doing the channel, and I really appreciate you guys tuning in, and subscribe to the channel and share with your friends, and stay in touch with us. If you have any questions, let me know, and any project ideas, we'll be looking for that. But we do have two really neat projects going to be coming up here, and cannot wait to get those in the shop and go get them loaded up and get them in here so we can start working on them. A real dear friend of mine, Buddy Parks, is the one that works with me on all these cars, and Buddy has spent many years in NASCAR. Worked with Gary Ballou, Pete Hamilton, Freddie Fryer. Has just a wealth of knowledge, and it's really interesting watching someone on his caliber and how talented he is. And you'll get a kick out of, he's my go-to guy. Stuff I can't do, Buddy knows how to do it. So between the two of us, we can make stuff work. So that's the history and kind of where we're coming from. And again, we're fixing to start the end of the racing season. We're fixing to start the rebuilding process. So we do all of our own body work in-house. We do all of our own suspension work. We build our own motors, we build our own transmissions, we build our own rear ends, we do everything in-house. So we'll start going over these cars and getting fresh bodies put on them, and then so there'll be a lot of activity coming in here in this time of year. Even though the race season's kind of ending up, that's when we start getting geared up for next year. So hang here with us. We'll be right back with you, and we'll discuss the 88 car today. We're going to kind of give you a little history on it, and we'll be right back with you here in just a second. All right, welcome back, YouTube, and as promised, we're going to highlight the 88 car today, which was a 8-month-long build that we just finished up, and we've only had one opportunity to get the car out to the track. We actually took it to Eagle Canyon Raceway over in Decatur, Texas, which is northwest of Dallas. A real nice first-class facility over there, and the car did great. As I mentioned earlier, we had a Kevin Harvick car that was a circle track car originally, and this car being a jig-built road racing car, it just handles a lot better. The balance is a lot better on the car, and we were able to get the suspension points and the geometry on the front end a lot closer without a lot of additional modifications. So it's been a really good project. On the video you'll see here in a minute, it'll cover a lot of the modifications we had to do for the car. But the reason it needed so many modifications, after DEI raced the car the last time, Eric Amarola raced it at Watkins Glen, and we have documentation where they had run the car at Road Atlanta. It was tested there on a couple different occasions before they went and raced it, but it was put out to pasture, and the Pepsi bottling company in Charlotte actually purchased the car, which my understanding was just basically a bare chassis, did not have anything. And it was put together by a company that they hired out to put the car back together. And unfortunately, the way show cars are done, they are really put together with the absolute minimum amount of parts, mismatched parts, whatever they can, that they can get by with, because the car only needs to crank up and go to a grocery store or go to a public event, whatever, so they can show the car. So even though it's a DEI car, that is why it is painted up as a Hendrick 88 car driven by Dale Jr. The paint and all was really good shape, and I decided we would leave it this way. And everybody likes Dale Jr., and hey, it's a good looking car anyway, so that's why we left it in this configuration. However, it was originally a DEI car. As I was mentioning, when people build the show cars, it is tremendous, the things they do and what we had to correct, if you will, the amount of work that took 8 months to actually complete, literally from the front bumper to the rear bumper. The car, when we got it, did not look that bad, but when we got under further and closer inspection, we found all kinds of stuff. And kind of give you an idea, I pulled out this steering shaft mount to show you. This is how they did the car. Again, because the car only has just to crank up and go to its public showings. That's it. But this is what they had. The steering column was mounted in here. The dash bar went through that. You can see they had 4 clamps. One of the clamps is gone. But you can see nothing's welded all the way around. And this was supporting the steering shaft. And you can't go out there and run 130 miles an hour like this, even though you're on track day. You know, surroundings, you just can't go out there with something like that without hurting yourself, hurting somebody else. But that was just one of the many things. They had the exhaust welded to the car, solid to the frame. They had the wrong fuel cell in the car, and the motor mounts were wrong. Everything had to be reconstructed on the front end. And the car actually had a dead stock 350 that had been put in the car, and the motor mounts were so low that the oil pan was only about literally inch and a half off the ground. So that just wasn't gonna work. So we actually started from the front in the car, and it took us 8 months to correct everything. A couple other interesting things that they had done was they had a mid-valley transmission, which is a good road racing transmission. That's the only thing we actually use out of the running gear, and we end up having to take it apart, and you'll see in the video, had to swap out the gears in it because it was geared wrong. But they had literally taken 10 snips and cut all of the floor pan out to make that transmission work. And we spent, I think, 2 or 3 weeks just getting the floor pan back correct so we could get all the heat shields and stuff in. So just from one end to the other, it was a major project. But getting the motor mounts correct, and so we could get the car up on ride heights correct, get the motor heights correct, and just a lot of work. You can see here, this is where the serial number is. I don't know if you can read it, but it's 0407. And it's chassis 025. And then here is the Dale Earnhardt official sticker for 025. And then, actually, after it was finished racing, they went ahead and sold the car and went out to pasture and became a show car. Then we brought it back to life. And a lot of work included, the safety aspect of the car was solid, but it was just all the running stuff needed to be repaired. And it was a long project, but a lot of fun doing it. And the new cars we'll have coming in, we'll be able to document from the day, like I say, from the day we pick them up and actually start on them and get them back here in the shop. We'll be able to document the whole thing. So hope you enjoy the video here. We're going to show you here in just a second. And you can check that out. And we will be covering the maintenance on our modifieds as well on the program. But today we're all going to just kind of concentrate on the 88 car and kind of how it came to be. So watch the video here, and it's just a minute or so long, and then we'll be right back with you. Welcome back, YouTube, and hope you enjoyed that brief video that kind of gives you a little behind the scenes look at all the work that went in to this 88 car, getting it converted from a show car back to a real race car. And it was a lot of fun to do it. I want to give a thank you, shout out to my friend Buddy Parks, all the work he did on the car with me, and it was a lot of fun. It's a real pleasure to get to work with Buddy. Buddy's very knowledgeable, and he's just really a lot of fun to work with, and we love working on these cars together. One thing I failed to mention, I did want to tell you about, the motor in this car is a 357 cubic inch motor. It's not the dead stock Chevrolet motor they had in the show car. This is a very heavy race built motor. Makes around 600 horsepower. I have to get with my brother Gene Humphrey on that. He builds all the motors, but I would guess around 600 horsepower. It's a dart headed motor, and it is a really good, powerful motor, roller cam, and it's really performed well for us through the years. And you got something good like that you don't want to let go of, so we freshened up this summer just for this car, and I did want to tell you about that. But appreciate you watching. Subscribe to the channel. We're going to have a lot of fun with the projects we have coming up, and as we document those, like I say, we hope to get started those in the next week or so. So if you have any questions, reach out to me. But we appreciate you watching this very first episode of Race Car Fabrication and Restoration. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.